Good morning, everyone, from wherever you're listening in from. Once again, I am Emmanuel Boto, and I'm the education partner from the Ugandan office. And today we're going to be looking at what's happening in the market, what's moving in the market, and of course, try to see where the opportunity, where the money is. So we shall be starting in just a minute. Give about 1 minute for the rest of the Calvary to join in. Alright, so a shout out to Sinclair Isumba for definitely probably being our first viewer in. And today, we don't have a lot of news events that may come in today. As you can see, today is a public holiday in Japan. And we all know Japan is one of the big major currencies around the world. So we don't have a lot of activity coming in the market in terms of the red folder news events. Let's just try to expand the field a little bit and see what other low volatility news events you could probably have. So when you come onto the orange folders, we do have the Swiss Bank or the Swiss National Bank chairman, Schlegel, who will be coming in to speak at about 10:35. That already happened. So it's just a speech, is definitely just giving in probably the outlook of what the interest rate So he'll be giving us, he was probably giving us an outlook on what the Swiss National Bank is looking at in terms of the rate decisions coming forward. Other than that, as far as today is concerned, we don't have any major news events that will definitely be coming in because any kind of volatility should be risk you would be worried about. But what we're going to do, we are going to be looking at the other news events or the other market movers. As we have seen in the past days, a lot of the movement has been around the tariffs and the tariff wars and all that Trump economics. I don't know how they call it, either Trump economics or Trumponomics. Yeah, something like that. It's what has been moving the market for the biggest period of time, especially from the previous month. And as we go forward, the whole world tends to watch and see. So I'm going to pull up an article in regards to that. But before that, as we go forward, you can actually be able to pay attention to the fact that we do have the Fed rate decision that will be coming in tomorrow at 9 p.m. Now, this is very, very important because we'll be giving us what the investors will be thinking of in the long run. As we have been able to see in the past, we have seen Donald Trump come in numerous times and hit on the chairman of the Federal Reserve Bank, that's Jerome Powell, to cut the rates. And he has been reluctant on that. He has been holding them steady. So tomorrow will be a very, very important day in terms of the US market and in terms of also the Federal Reserve Bank decision that they'll be looking to make. So tomorrow we shall be having that. That will be the biggest major move of the week. And Friday, we shall as well see the Bank of England, Governor Bailey, coming to speak as well. Coming to speak and give us the rate decision from the BOE as well. So it's going to be a very busy week starting tomorrow. As we have seen, today is going to be an easy day. We shall probably have the IV PMI from Canada coming in later in the day. And the forecast at 52.2, that's still above 51. So it will show growth. If it comes at 1.2, it will show growth, but at a more slow pace. But the growth will still be in there. If it comes in at around the forecasted figures, or it may even stay the same. So we do have the Fed unemployment rate that will come in tomorrow very early at 1:45 a.m. So for those of you who are Asian traders, you can be able to watch out for that. And that should have the construction PMI to come at 11:30 a.m. And I believe that will be covered tomorrow in tomorrow morning's market snapshot. So make sure you don't miss it. So other than that, there's an article I want to be able to share up here, and that is this. So Of course, the headline here is what impact might Trump's Hollywood tariffs plan have. So, of course, as we have seen, Trump is coming in and is looking for ways of trying to cut the trade deficit or get negotiating deals that will favor Americans. But when it comes to the movie or the Hollywood tariff, it's a bit tricky because now, as we all know, Hollywood is in the United States. Of course, it's in California, if I'm not mistaken, around there. But now Trump wants to come in and hit Hollywood. But here's what he had to say. US President Donald Trump had said he will hit movies made in foreign countries with 100% tariffs as he ramps up trade disputes with nations around the world. Trump said in a post on Truth Social that he was authorizing the US Department of Commerce and Trade representatives to start process to impose the levy because America's movie industry was dying a very fast death. He later said he wouldn't consult Hollywood executives to see if they are happy with his proposal after the news sent shockwaves through the industry. So what might this mean for both the US film industry and the global movie industry? So why this is very crucial is because, as we all know, Hollywood, as a center for all movies, all the biggest movies in the world, it doesn't just vendor movies from the US entirely. It does vendor movies from around other countries or other places that send movies through Hollywood in the US as well. So here you can, as announcing the new tariffs, Trump declared that Hollywood was dying. So is it. It's true that the industry has been through a really rough time in the recent years. The pandemic saw production closed down and the impact ongoing. Hollywood studios spent $11.3 billion on productions in the second quarter, a 20% drop from the same period in 2022, as studios continue to cut costs in an attempt to recover from COVID losses. So as we all remember, then the wildfire struck earlier this year in California, and for several years now, more and more people are not just youngsters have been turned into YouTube, but other streaming platforms for content. US remains a major film production hub. According to Variety, 2025 has seen a rebound in box office numbers since last year. Overall, all domestic revenues up 15.8% and 2024 so far. So the challenge with this and how it will affect the American economy is the fact that, of course, as you all know, recreation is one of the world's biggest commodities. And of course, movies are one of the things that almost everybody tends to turn to when it comes into, of course, recreation and all those kinds of recreationary services. So, of course, when it hits movies with a big tariff, to probably tend to show an impact, consequently, on consumers of these movies, because almost everybody tends to watch movies. Probably may make cinemas up prices go higher. That will affect the American economy. Apart from that, when you come to trading economics, there is a bit of major headlines that you can be able to look at, and we may want to pay more attention on those affecting the American economy. Then we can now go to a technical. So today we shall look a lot at the technical side because we do not have a lot of major news events coming in through the day. And we have been seeing a de-escalation in the Trump tariff wars earlier. So let's look at the Japanese yen, because it's a major currency. So Japanese yen eases after a 2-day rise. So we have been seeing a correction in Japanese yen, and I did mention this on our last Tuesday's session that we had. Now we had to tell the Japanese yen appreciated towards 143 per dollar on Tuesday, advancing for the third day straight session as the dollar remained under pressure from the global trade uncertainties. US President Donald Trump said he has no plans to speak with the Chinese President Xi Jinping this week, though he signaled a possible reduction in the current 145% tariff rate on the Chinese imports, adding nuance to an otherwise tense trade backdrop. Investors are also monitoring the outcome of the recent US-Japan bilateral trade negotiations, with Tokyo aiming to finalize an agreement by June on the monetary policy front. The Bank of Japan held its benchmark interest rate steady at 0.5% last week. As expected, however, the central bank downgraded its growth and inflation forecasts, reinforcing market expectations that any rate hikes remain off the table for now. Trading volumes remained light on Tuesday due to a public holiday in Japan. So of course, as I mentioned earlier, today is a public holiday in Japan, and of course, the trading volumes still remain light as they have mentioned over there. So besides that, we can now start try and gravitate towards our technicals. As I told you, there's going to be a very technical day because we don't have any major news movers in the market. Neither do we have any major news events that may come through to see any kind of unprecedented volatility in the market. So I'm going to just share my other screen that happens to always see. I'm going to just share the screen with the charts so that we can be able to have this. So I'm just trying to share my chart screen. Give me a second. As the screen is coming on, sorry for the lag. One of the things we are, okay, there we go. So now these are anticipations that we had coming from our last week's market anticipation. For those of you that did remember that. So I'm going to just get rid of this and I just have a recap on how we saw our gold moving and how it was able to get to our buying area. And we see those bulls are currently in play. So now, remember we did start from our weekly time frame on gold particularly, and we can see gold is actually edging high with a very, very high momentum. And of course, now this one of the reasons was why I had to pull up the article on the tariffs that Trump is looking to impose on the moving industry, because every time he mentions a kind of imposition on tariffs, depending on the significance of that industry, investors tend to back out of the particular currency. In this case would be probably the dollar, and going to a safe haven, but in this case it's definitely gold. So we can see that after that announcement, we have seen our gold be able to push higher. But back to technical analysis, last week we did say that we saw a rejection from the upside that showed the price wanted to hedge higher. So we see that in between that, we did have a daily target. The level below over here would have been our weekly and level that we want to look at overall. But when it came to the daily, we did find a level that would look to anchor price from the daily time frame. Now, if you remember quite well from last week, we hadn't broken below this resistance here, and we're going to look at that resistance on the 4-hour time frame. But this was the level we're looking at to look for some buy scenarios. And on the 4-hour, we did have a resistance that we had said that we shall see gold probably pick up momentum and break below, then come to give us a decision on this daily area over here. So this was the resistance we had looked at, and we were able to see that gold came and was able to break it and came all the way into the demand levels below here that weren't fully mitigated, and then was able to push to the upside and still are pushing to the upside. So coming on to this price action, from the higher time frame, all we have is a very big push to the upside from gold that looks like it has broken above these resistance levels, as we can see over here. So remember, we are generally still in an uptrend on gold, and of course, when we are looking at an uptrend, we definitely want to look at overall bulls to the upside. So as you can see right now, we've been able to see a breakout of the 1-hour resistance levels over here, and then we're able to see some kind of retest that is pushing to the upside. So as you're going into the day, you'd want to consider those bulls and want to look for the possible areas to the upside that gold may use as targets, or either areas for retracements that you can be able to probably look for an opportunity within. So as I can look at the 1-hour time from over here, we have seen price breaks out of the resistance and tries to retest it. So what I'll be looking at would be a breakout of this minor resistance level over here, as you can see it. We want to see a breakout, then a retest, of course, or a retracement back into these levels, then price can push to the next level. This will be our next resistance level, because our next supply level, where you want to take your next possible decision. Any break above that level would mean our take profit level 2 would be from here, and any break above that would mean we are still pushing to the upside. But other than that, we would want to see a breakout and a retest, or consequently, we would want to see a break and then a push all the way to the supply levels. Then we can wait for those confirmations to try and see if we can have a push into these levels that price would have left at the back for us. Now, this is something we want to look out for. So this level right here would be a decision level that we want to pay attention to. It's our nearest decision level or the nearest supply level. So there would be two possible options: either price pushes in momentum all the way into the supply levels. Then of course you'd want to go to a lower time frame, preferably a 15 or a 5-minute time frame, to try and look out for a particular confirmation to see if this could be able to push price back into these levels here of interest that price would have formed. On the other hand, we would consequently see our gold breakout, then give us an immediate retest before getting into the supply level, and then we can see that retracement try to give us a confirmation that could push price into this particular supply level. So any break below this resistance level would mean that we'd want to see our gold come to this level of a retracement, then push all the way into where the range starts from. And I would definitely be looking at the areas like this that facilitated the breakout of this level over here, or of that high, or that are in alignment with that particular high. So any break below these levels, I would want to look at something of that nature. This area would probably go for a kind of a retracement, then a push to this downside or the next decision level. The idea would be just to wait and see if any of these areas transpire, then you're able to react off of the movements price would have offered around these particular decision levels to try and take a more informed trade. Now, if we are to move on, so I want to start with the major currency pairs that I look at, then we are going to expand a little bit. So last week, we did look at GBP/JPY, and I remember we did look for the buys into the next daily area over there. So as you can see, our price was able to push all the way into the next daily area over there, as we had anticipated, and price is able to price in a move to the downside. So coming into this week, having achieved our goal from last week that we had looked for, there was this supply level on the daily, we can see that price is giving us a deep retracement. So we do have a demand level that price is currently trying to move into. But when you look at the momentum on this, the chances are high that price may fail to confirm. Remember, when you go to a lower time frame, we want to look for a confirmation. But as you can see, price has tended to mitigate all the possible demand levels in between. Right now, we can see price is currently hovering into the most recent or the most fresh demand level, as you can see over here. Let me just try to zoom that in. But when you look at the momentum over here, it shows that the Japanese yen is currently so strong. And if you remember from the article that I did pull up earlier, they mentioned that we have seen strength in the Japanese yen for the third day straight, and that will account for Friday, Monday, and of course today's Asian session. And we can see that momentum is really strong. So just to have a bigger context on what's happening on the JPY index, we are going to just pull out the JPY basket and try to see what's happening on the JPY basket. Now, as you already remember, this was the anticipation we did have on the JPY basket from last Tuesday. And as you can see, I remember mentioning that if price broke above this resistance, we are going to have a consequent retest of these levels and a push to the upside. And you can see it's playing out just perfectly fine by supporting the bears that we are seeing. On the other hand, on the JPY, and of course pairs like the USD JPY as well, that strength on the Japanese yen. So if we are to pick a higher time frame perspective, we can see that it did come from this demand level over here, and price has pushed all the way into the next demand level. Now remember, these demand levels, especially on the higher time frame, they work as what I call decision levels. By decision levels, I mean that you want price to get into these levels, and then on the lower time frame, we can consequently go in and look for confirmation trades to see if either price forms one to respect the demand or supply level, or if price goes ahead to violate that area. In simple terms, it doesn't form a confirmation. And what do I mean by this? If price gets into, for example, the particular supply level we are having right now, and price fails to form a lower time frame confirmation, you will not look for that level, supply level to give you the sell direction you're looking for. You will instead wait and see if price breaks above that level, and then you'll use that level as a supply and demand flip consequently. Then of course, as you can see from here, price has currently gotten into the supply level, and we can try to refine and look at the supply levels on lower time frames that may probably be able to offer some kind of reactions. As you can see, we are moving in towards a 4-hour supply level, and as you can see, it happens to be let me just have a look at the one above it. So you can see that we have these two levels here, so I'm going to just mark them this way because they are all more of like 2-in-1, and all we're doing, we're just refining our decision levels. So if we refine this becomes our general decision level through which we shall want to look for confirmations. And why is it very crucial to look for confirmations within such areas, especially if we are paying attention to the momentum that price is using to come into this supply level here. When you see high momentum, it's always good to be skeptical because in most cases, high momentum comes in when the market is trying to be shifted or they are trying to change the direction of the market at that consequent time or at that point in case. So when you see high momentum, it's very, very good to be skeptical and to pay attention to what price is doing. When you look at the daily time frame, we do have a supply level that's above here as well. And when you look at the level of mitigation, or as they call it, level of balancing of price, we know that price did not retrace within 50% of this, within 50% of this particular supply level. So that becomes something very crucial for you to pay attention to. That price, if price comes with high momentum, you may want to take a decision in the level or above the one below as well. So we can have that's the JPY basket, and it's basically just giving us a perspective on what's happening on GPJPY. So as GPJPY is selling to the downside, we can see it has something similar to the JPY basket. It does have two demand levels. Remember, they are inversely correlated. So the JPY basket is buying GPJPY, USDJPY, Euro, NZDJPY, Euro JPY will all be looking for those moves to the downside. So let me just try to change this up. I didn't realize I wasn't really in frame. Okay, sorry about that. So consequently, if we see the JPY basket violate the area on a daily, we shall see the same happen on the GPJPY. So we're going to be looking at that since we're now in a demand level. The momentum is so high, so you want to look preferably a 15-minute shift to the upside to give you the right kind of confirmation. Other than that, when the momentum is really high, you want to stay out of this pair or you just watch so that you can keep your money to be able to trade the next day or the next opportunity. So moving on to JPJPY. Moving on to our BTC, Bitcoin. So we can say Bitcoin was able to achieve the levels we had marked out as well the previous week. We had looked at our breakout, of these levels here, and a push into these higher levels, or the QM level that we had looked at over here. We had looked at, this was the target area we had had. For those of you that had missed that session and you wanted to see how we had come out with the analysis on a GPJPY gold and of course Bitcoin, you can be able to go and look at that on the live playlist as well. So we had seen BTC come and achieve the targets that we had looked at. Remember, we did find it after the breakouts of these levels, and we're looking for a lower time frame confirmation at that particular time that we were able to see. So we're able to see that Bitcoin did break out of this level, had a retracement and bought to the upside. So coming into the current price action, you realize that Bitcoin is as well inside a daily demand level. So being inside a daily demand level, this means that we want to look on the lower time frame and see if it either forms a confirmation to the upside or if it pushes lower. So, and I remember mentioning that if we go ahead and break below this demand levels, and you can see this demand level does have a strong support levels over here. If we see Bitcoin breaking below this, we shall expect to see a free fall all the way to the levels of about 84,600 and something, around that level. If we happen to see it break below the strong resistance, that couples up with a strong demand level as well. Besides that, since we are inside the daily demand level, we would want to see a lower time frame give us a shift to the upside or a confirmational shift. So we did see some of this occur, but hasn't been able to push and break above the highs that we have. So you can see that we have been able to see this kind of retracement or consolidation that's happening at the moment within this demand levels as well. So we want to see if price is able to break below this consolidation. We can see that we have something that's trying to form up at the moment, but not something conclusive because we're in a daily demand level, and consequently, we do have a strong support level to the downside. So as I was saying, we're able to see a shift to the upside, then we're able to see a retracement back into these levels that are able to give us these buys, and then we are seeing a current retracement to the downside. So just like we had seen last time, we do have a supply level above this that we want to see price come and probably violate if we are to be bullish. When you look at the 4-hour, we want to see a high around that level that price want to break above to give us consequent shifts. Or as well, we can look at the resistance that price is currently trying to reject. So price rejecting this resistance, and that means that it's trying to push to the downside. But as I've said, we have a strong support to the downside, and we do have a strong resistance. So any break above this area or a candlestick closure above this resistance would mean we can look in for some buying opportunities to definitely target the next supply level, or even target higher levels on Bitcoin as well. Any break below that strong resistance levels will mean we are pushing all the way to the downside, levels of about 84,000 as well. So we want to watch out at that price action and see how it transpires, and then we can be able to take decisions on that. So just looking at one more index in terms of currency indexes, we want to definitely look at what is happening on the dollar as well. So as we have seen, the dollar is trying to edge lower after NFP came out. So NFP did give a bit of, how would I say it, we did have a move to the upside initially, then we saw it retrace back, then we saw some bulls come in after the non-farm payrolls came out, because the figures, as much as they were not above the previous ones, they at least beat the forecast. They weren't as bad as expected from the side of the forecasters. So looking at the dollar index, we do see that it's also been able, it has been a retracement or a correction move after it tried to give us corrections to the upside. We had to see some kind of like bullish days coming in from about the 17th of May or April, sorry. And then we did see that price did leave us with a structural break to the upside within these levels, and price has been currently in a retracement towards these levels. So trying to see if this correction continues to the upside, we can bring in our Fibonacci tool and try to see how far this type of correction move could possibly go to. So as you can see, we have been able to come into the areas below the 50%, and then we had a rejection of our optimum trade levels. But if we try to refine and see the best possible areas price may want to come into a lower time frame, we do have a lot of liquidities taken out within these particular levels, which means there's nothing for price to come and look for. Other than that, it will tend to look at this all as sell side liquidity. So if price tends to break below the current levels that we are seeing, or below this current kind of trend line to the upside, if you see a break below these levels, price is most definitely going to violate this area and maybe go to lower. In the looking at the current area price on the DXY, you can see we do have a structure point over here that once the price break out of, then probably give us a retracement to try and maintain this bullish momentum to try and see if the dollar index tends to recover, or gold, or the dollar economy tends to recover from that kind of move. So we want to see something like this. So we said any break below this trend line levels, we'll definitely see it come and take out this sell side liquidity to the downside, because we do not have any major demand levels that may be fresh or that price may want to use to try and see if it can be able to push to the upside. So the dollar index is looking this way today morning. So let's try and diversify a bit into a bit of cross pairs and see what we can be able to have in this week. So one of the pairs I've been trying to look at is definitely the Euro card. So it has been in some kind of consolidation, as you can see. But when you look at the 4-hour time frame, we did have a supply level over here, and price was definitely coming from a higher time frame level, as you can see. So let me just get rid of this and we will do the reanalysis on the Euro card. so that you can tend to see as to why it's one of the pairs I'm looking at. So paying attention to the daily time frame, we can see that we do have this very big daily demand level. So we do have a daily demand level that price was able to come into, and we can set the supply level that's responsible for the push to the downside. That is right above this level here. So price came into this level and we're trying to look for a confirmation to see if price can be able to push into the 4-hour supply level. So upon refinement, our set price is able to come into this area and was able to give us a shift or a coordinate shift or a shift that coordinates to a probable higher time frame objective. So when you look at this thing, price comes and does give us a shift around this area. That's our shift point. So we look at the high responsible for that shift point. Then you can also look at the low, the lowest point price formed. So as you can see, price is able to break out, then retest into these levels, and then start that move to the upside. And to move to the upside, we do see that there was a very big resistance level here that price has attempted to break time and again with a lot of fail. So right now what we're looking at is that our price gets into this supply level and it's able to use or give us a confirmation within the supply level that can definitely push the euro card all the way to the downside. So I'm looking at something like this, but as I've told you, price will have to break above this resistance level, then push into this level. Then you can consequently say push all the way to the downside. So I'm looking at something like this because my higher time frame is still giving me a lot of bearishness because I feel like price does have to come all the way into this 4-hour demand level. So this will be my overall target. And as I remember telling you, all these areas will want to be taken off entirely based off confirmation. Confirmations are really crucial and they do help you avoid a lot of noise. They do help you avoid a lot of noise. That will be very crucial. I'm looking at this on Euro card. Once I break out of this resistance level, push into the 4-hour supply levels and definitely a lower time frame confirmation, that would definitely come in to push price all the way into this 4-hour demand levels that we'll definitely be targeting. So that's what I'll be looking at on Euro card. Let's just pick up a few more pairs. So let's look at the Australian dollar and the Japanese yen. So we're going to relate this to our earlier analysis on the JPY basket or the general analysis on the JPY as an index. So when you look at or JPY or Australian dollar and Japanese yen, we do see that price has very rich price action, and we're able to see price come and sell off in between the supply levels. And where is it pushing towards to? It's pushing towards the most recent demand areas or the most recent areas of interest as well. So we expect price to come into this level as much as this was a correction. We'd expect to see price push into these levels, and lower time frame we can try to refine the demand levels or just wait for price to give us a confirmation or perform a probable shift inside this area to try and support the narrative of pushing price higher. So we want to watch that. So any break below these levels here will definitely mean we're looking for price to move all the way lower. As I was saying, any break below the resistance on this particular area. So that would be our resistance levels. And we are saying any break below these levels would say a retest and a push all the way to the downside because we do not have any other kind of fresh demand levels that are visible on the market right now. So that would be our perspective on AUD JPY. So just trying to diversify the pairs we want to look at. Particularly, we can look a bit into the European dollar and the Australian dollar or AUD, Euro AUD as well. So look at Euro AUD on the daily time frame. We can notice that we have been in a correction towards the downside. Now, by a correction, what do I mean? A correction is basically after price forms an impulse and it starts doing the retracement. This is what we call a correction. and price tends to come with low momentum or forming a lot of structure points or those zigzag patterns while it's coming back into the breakout areas or coming back to retrace the impulsive move that created structure. Remember, when you're looking at structure, it moves and impulses, retraces, or corrects. Impulses, retraces, or corrects, then impulses again. So when you look at this kind of price action, you can consequently just see that this is a correction move, and of course it's a correction, then it's gravitating towards usually a demand level for this kind of case or a supply level in the bullish case scenario. So you can start here as high momentum breakouts, and when I look at the price action that occurs here, when I go to the 4-hour, I expect to find there a very good demand zone as well. And as we can see, there was a 4-hour demand zone that this price definitely came into and started pushing back to the upside. So in terms of looking for either continuing this trade, what would we love to see in order for us to take a trade off of this? So ideally, once you have breakout of this area, it will definitely leave us with a good inside information that you want price to retest into and then buy up as well. But that will want to happen after we see a closeout above the wicks of that particular most recent supply zone. Now that would make more sense for us to take the buys within that particular level, because then we would have had what they call a market structure shift or a smart money confirmation as well. Now that's Australian dollar, the euro and the Australian dollar. So moving further, let's try to pay a bit more attention to a bit of indexes, and we're going to look at the Nasdaq particularly as well. So let's have a look at what Nasdaq. Okay, this the broker is not giving me the best price option. Let's just try to get a broker with proper price option. So this is going to be Nasdaq. So I think I want to use 8 cup. So now when we come and look at the DXY, sorry, the Nasdaq. Remember, we did have Nasdaq last time, and I mentioned you on how it's in a correction to the upside. And as you can see, it has achieved the very first target, that is the weekly supply level. Now, our coming to refinements and trying to build narrative around our trading perspective today, we are going to see that we want to look for a confirmation that price will give us within these particular levels or within these weekly supply levels. Sorry about that. So when you look at this, we realize that price comes into the daily area and you don't have any major level you can refine to. So what do? You go into the 1 hour and try to see if there is a confirmation that could push us into this particular trade. So when you look at this, we did have a shift that occurred at this particular point over here, a shift to the downside, and a retracement into the supply levels. The price is currently pushing to the downside. So long-term perspective, what should we see? We want to see a consequent time frame give us a shift, and that's a 4-hour time frame. So we want it to break below this major resistance level here, and then we can see a retracement or a correction into the upside, then definitely a push all the way down to fulfill the weekly objective or into this weekly area of interest that you can see over here. This is what we want to look at particularly on the Nasdaq. So US 30, the perspective should not be any much different. As you can see, US 30 as well. So this was our last week perspective on US 30. We did want to have breakout and retest, and as you can see, we did have something similar to that. We did have a very big breakout, a very big retest that was very negative for us. But then later on, price breaks above the resistance, then it goes ahead to retrace that particular resistance, which means you would have had a very, very good trading there as well, despite taking the first trade as an L. So if we go ahead and want to look at the Dow Jones or the US 30 or the stock composite for the 30 biggest companies in the US, this is what you want to look at. You want to look at that particular perspective. Let's look at the weekly and see where we expect price to head to. So as you can see, similar to Nasdaq, let's say the Black Jones or the US 30 is as well into our weekly area of interest. So what you want to see is a lower time frame shift to your desired direction, and then you can be able to take a properly informed decision. So just similar to Nasdaq, if we see this pair actually break below the second low here, So it'll be much more to make much more sense to wait for a retracement and then sell to the downside as well. So this will be our perspective on Nasdaq because currently we are on US 30, sorry, because currently we are in the middle of our weekly supply level. In our weekly supply level, you want to look for sell confirmations. In our weekly demand level, you want to use for buy confirmation. The same theory or ideology still applies to our currencies as well. Even synthetics, it does apply to it as well. And that's what you want to be paying attention to in these particular scenarios, especially when price gets to higher time frame areas of liquidity or areas of interest. So just to move an edge higher, let's just try to look at silver. It's not a very popular, it's not a very widely traded commodity, but a very good commodity if you do know how to read this price action. So when you look at this, realize that silver was having a bearish reaction recently due to this particular supply level as well. But as you can see, after 2 days, after 2 days of that supply level trying to hold price, we have seen that today has actually shifted the entire momentum. So as a trader, what do you want to look at if price goes ahead to do something of this nature? So first and foremost, times the nature of a breakout, you realize you do have a shift. Of course, a breakout or up there of the high, then you have an inside formation. And when you look above this, there is not really any big supply level that has not been mitigated. So this leaves you the last option for the best possible areas to definitely go ahead and buy silver from as well. Of course, once again, to be entirely confirmation based, that is very crucial because you tend to avoid a lot of noise, a lot of announcements that you won't need in the markets, and that in turn helps you improve your trading career as well. It also makes journaling and all those things easy for you. Now, drifting back a little bit to dollar pairs, Euro USD. When Euro USD because it's a widely asked for pair and it's a widely loved pair, and of course it's a pair that one can easily navigate even with very slow capital. So when you come, I want to move from the daily on the DXY. When you come to the daily, sorry, in the Euro USD, when you come to the daily, you're going to realize that we do have a strong demand level over here that has constantly been holding price for quite a period of time. As you can see, it's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 to 10 days, and this supply level, demand level has been holding price right where it is. So coming onto a lower time frame, what you're going to do, you don't wait for a confirmation. And if a confirmation does not form at all, it's well and good. It's better than losing money that you hadn't planned to lose. So you can always be able to look at the lowest areas or the areas below to be the next thing where price will definitely want to respect the market as well. So that's my perspective on the Euro US dollar. In the meantime, if you have any questions that you want to ask, kindly put them in the comment section. I'll be very glad to answer them to the best of my knowledge and to the best of my ability. So as we're moving forward, I would like to remind everyone else, if you're in Kenya, if you're in Tanzania, if you're in Uganda, we do have customized free classes online for the beginner classes, 8 to 9 p.m. We do have 11 a.m. sessions on this very same YouTube channel. So feel free to come through as well, and then we can be able to see how best we can help you in regards to this. So as I was saying, let's look at a bit of one more or two more pairs. So what pair should we look at? Let's look at NZDC. Let's look at GPCHF. Let's look at NZDCHF. So now these pairs are called cross pairs. Usually they consist of one or two. Sometimes it will be a major and a cross. Sometimes it will be a cross and a cross pair. So that's what we. That's how these pairs come about. Okay. So with me here, I do have a chart for the Mexican peso or MXN. So it's one of the very good pairs to trade. Many people do not pay attention to it a lot, but when it comes to trading crosses, USD ZAR, USD ZAR, USD JPY, sorry, USD ZAR, USD Mexico. There's a commodity called Palladium, and then CHF JPY are very amazing pairs to trade. So look at like USD Mexico, the Mexican peso. you realize this were coming from a daily area of liquidity or a daily bullish area of interest. When you try to refine to get the cost for the entry, since we didn't enter the trade, so when you come ahead to do this, so we can refine to areas of high momentum breakouts as well, that you can see where price will definitely want to come to, or that will act as magnets to what the price is doing in any current market situation. So as we can see, price didn't quite get to our area probably too refined, but then what happens is that price later goes ahead to perform a shift in between, and then returns and we're seeing a push to the upside. So you can expect this push to go all the way to this area here, and then later on be able to offer a retracement that will then come and fill another area of interest or another demand level, then push to the upside. So expect it to look something like something of that nature. There is what we expect to see when price comes in. Yes, please, if you have a question, kindly put in the comment section and then I'll go through it. So someone asks for USD CHF. So USD CHF, so as you can see here, we did have a price come respect this area. That's all. So it's just have something new. So we're going to do some TD analysis. By TD analysis, I mean top-down analysis. We're going to do some top-down analysis on USD CHF. So coming from the daily, we can see the current price action price has too much momentum, breaks out of this support level, doesn't break somebody's heart, but breaks out of this level here. And after breaking this level, we can see that daily tried to give us some retracement to the upside. That looks like it might have ended as well, because you can see that bears are starting to come in as well, coming onto a 4-hour time frame. Now this is what that so-called retest look like. So as you can see, when prices are coming in this retracement, we do see that there was a shift that occurred from here as well. Then we had a retracement that comes back into these levels here, and consequently, we see that this area is trying to push price to the downside. So for those of you looking to take the opportunities within this, we can probably expect to see a push all the way to this next demand level on the 4-hour time frame on USD CHF. So this is what I would want you to look at. Of course, we can try to see a lower time frame retracement to a supply level that can consequently try to support price. So when I look above these areas, I realize that most of these areas have already been consumed. So we can probably see it coming to these particular levels here, where we see a breakout here, and don't see a proper retracement to try and consume those particular levels. So we're going to just try to refine that same area. So let me just get the area back, and we can be able to see if we do have any reason to that may probably hold price at these areas above. So I want to watch this area because we can see that the price comes in and does not consume the majority of it. So when you come and do this, so you can see this area that price comes to, so you can wait to watch this area and probably take a confirmation within this particular area. Then you can see price sell to that downside. So I do want you to see this price try to push into these levels or these supply levels, then look for a confirmation to the downside as well. Now I would like to remind you all that this is not financial advice. What we do, we try to give you a market insights on what you can possibly expect. Then you can use it to try and take decisions as well. So it's just market analysis. They are not financial advice as well. So if you're good with your confirmations, well and good. If you're not good with them, we have a lot of playlists that you can check out on and be able to learn how you can take confirmations or take entries as well. But once again, it's not financial advice. It's just insights in what the market is possibly doing and how you could possibly react. You can be able to use it to the best of your ability in terms of confirmation or how to use the information as well. So I'll be taking, I think, 1 or 2 more questions, then we can call it a day as well. And in the meantime, I would like to remind you, as I was saying earlier, we do have a lot of programs that are in place for those who are looking to learn or become or improve your trading skill or career as well, for all Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. Tanzania and Uganda, we do have physical classes taking place Monday to Friday. In Tanzania, it's 1 to 3 p.m. In Uganda, it's 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. For the people down in Kenya, we do have a beginner class happening from 8 to 9 p.m. And the links are all below for those classes, and they are online classes as well. And for those who want the advanced classes and want them online, we do have those links also below, and the classes happen at 11 p.m. and the days are also stipulated in the links below. So feel free to check the links in the bio, and you can be able to take up. So in the meantime, I would like to share one more screen to try and give you guys an insight on what other things we have going on as well. Sorry. So I'm going to be sharing this particular screen. Just a minute. So I can have the screen up. Yes, so for those of you who are looking for learning material or free learning material, we do have you sorted out, or we have you catered for on the FX Pesa YouTube channel. So you can come to the FX Pesa YouTube channel, and when you come over to playlists, we do have playlists that are being designed for your different levels of trading as well. So if you're a beginner, we do have a beginner classes, and you're going to be able to see this starting. For those in English, there's going to be a market snapshot by Rufus, a novice to pro by Rufus Kamau for those in English. And for those of you who are in Swahili, you'll be able to find novice to pro by Prudence Maximilian from Tanzania, and in Swahili as well. Then we do have intermediate trading strategies for you guys by Robert as well. And we do have a lot of courses you can go through. Then for those of you who are looking to just have deeper insights on trading and things like that, we have you sorted out with the Bullish Banter podcast as well. And kindly be able to so you can go ahead and check out the latest episode by Forex Giant Uganda. So we have very many episodes for you that you can go and look through, navigate, and listen to these different stories of different mentors or different traders who have been able to make it in that trading space. So yeah, that's the material we have for you. We have a lot of material for you. So feel free to go and check it out and reach out as well. And do not forget to create an account with FX Pesa. If you haven't created one, the registration link is in bio as well. Feel free to tap into it, and then other than that, we shall meet on the next one. Have a nice time and have a profitable trading day as well. A nice time.